Hey guys, Will here. Just another little quick video. I like on Twitter every year putting out my top fights, my top knockouts, my top submissions, fight of the year. So I thought, why not do it to the guys who I spend a lot of time with on here and I coerce with, I talk with. So basically I'm going to give you my top 5 fighters, top 5 submissions, top 5 knockouts, fight of the year. So come and tell me who you think is your top knockouts, your top fighter, just whatever. I'm going to give you a list of 5 of each. And let's see where we differ, and let me see what you're thinking with your knockout submissions and so on and so on. So I'm going to get into it straight away. First, I'm going to go from 5 down to 1 of the top 10 fights of 2016, my personal favourites. So at number 5, Joanna Jędrzejczyk against Claudia Gadelha. This is the fight I watch a lot because it shows you a lot about Joanna Jędrzejczyk and just how she never gives up. She lost 2 rounds pretty big. Gadelha was fading, she knew that, and she came out and just destroyed Claudia Gadelha for 3 rounds to win her belt and defend her belt there against her biggest opponent, I think, still in the division. Jessica Andrade might have something to say about that, but I think that was a great fight, just a in-your-face throwing shots, just was not going to lose that belt that night, and just a real dominant 3 rounds from Joanna Jędrzejczyk there to really put an exclamation mark on that fight. Number 4, I have Steve Bossy against Sean O'Connell. This was just a slug and back and forward brawl. Not much technique, but just lots of power shots and lots of damage taken by both guys. But Steve Bossy came out on top. It's just one of the great fights of 2016, definitely. Number 3, I have Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz v Conor McGregor 2 from UFC 202. I thought this showed a lot of grit from Conor McGregor. He had to come in and he knew that he was up against a guy who was very, very tough, had the advantage of beating him before, and Conor McGregor showed a lot that night. And Nate Diaz, I mean, that guy just does not give up. I think there might have been something wrong with him when he went into that fight. I could be wrong. But I just thought it was a great fight. I mean, there was so much animosity running up into that final fight of UFC 202 with the both camps going at each other, and then by the time fight time, I mean, you can see my reaction video of me watching it there. It was a crazy night, a crazy fight, and showed you about Conor McGregor losing that fight back in March. He wanted to, unlike Ronda Rousey, who took a year off, went away. Conor McGregor wanted that fight so bad and came back and won that fight. Very, very close. Seen people score it for Diaz. I don't see it myself, but one of the best fights of 2016 without a doubt. Number 2 is one fresh in the memory from UFC 206. Cub Swanson against Do Ho Choi. Just an unbelievable fight. There was some real nice technique in there. There was some very diverse strikes thrown in that fight, and just the whole Choi. It's weird that a guy. He got beat up in that fight, but it's weird to see a guy come out the other end of that and maybe be a bigger star now because of that fight. Called out Cub Swanson specifically, and Cub Swanson brought it, and really he put the youngster down and put him in his place, and just an all-out war. I think if this had maybe been earlier on in the year, or this fight didn't take place, which is number 1, which I think will be the consensus number 1 of 2016, that it definitely would have won the fight of the year. But number 1 is Robbie Lawler against Carlos Condit, UFC 195, way back in January, first card of the year, and just if you have not seen that fight, you have to go watch it. Grit, determination, balls, both guys with big balls staying in that fight. Just my favourite fight of 2016, without a doubt. So that's my top 5 fights of 2016. Now into my top 5 knockouts. Now this was tough because looking at the list here, I have about 15 knockouts which could have made the 5, but I managed to round it down and I got my top 5 knockouts. So we'll go from number 5. Number 5, we have Michael Chandler against Patricky Pitbull. Huge right hand, like a searing right hand through there, caught Patricky Pitbull square in the chin, and he just went down like he'd been shot pretty much. It was right in the chin, just so fast, so accurate that Pitbull had no chance to really get back to his feet there. So that's number 5. Number 4, Diego Rivas against Nour Lahat, flying knee finish. I think it was UFC 199, which I'll put out now. That was my favourite event of 2016 so far. I really enjoyed that card from top to bottom, and there was great fights from the very first of the night onto your prelims, onto your main card, onto your main event. So Diego Rivas, just with the flying right knee, put Nour Lahat to sleep, and he was looking at the lights, and it was a really nasty knockout. Number 3, MVP versus Cyborg. Pretty similar, just a spectacular knockout. There's really no kind of variance between 3 and 4 in my opinion. MVP, I think maybe the Pokemon celebration maybe moved up to 3. I thought it was a pretty badass celebration, in all honesty. Pinpoint knee right to like the forehead of Cyborg and just put him down with it was a sick knockout. Sick knockout. Number 2, I have went for, and this was a tough one between 1 and 2, I went for Andre Fili and Yair Rodriguez. I was at 197, and just the sound of like the foot hitting the chin or the face of Andre Fili is something that I'll never forget. I mean, it was pretty boisterous, but you heard that, it's just like a smack. Great technique, just a really fun knockout, and as Grabaka Hitman said last night, kind of your more exotic knockouts that you don't see an awful lot of. So yeah, that's my number 2. Number 1, I've went for Rumble Johnson against Glover Teixeira, because this thing, I just had a feeling that he could do that. He came out, fainted very, very hardly. Glover tried to come in and just Rumble just uncorked a right uppercut, which absolutely took the chin clean off, and I think there was a tooth flew into the sky of Glover Teixeira. Just a brutal knockout. Definitely my number 1 knockout of 2016 for sure. Notable mentions, I think you've got to put out there. You've got Vanata against McDessie at 206, definitely one on there. Paige Van Zandt, Bet Rollins, Hector Lombard, Dan Henderson at UFC 199, Stipe Verdum, Bader Latifi, sorry, I should say, at UFC event over in Germany. It was just so many good knockouts, and yeah, so that's my top 5 knockouts. What do you think? Tell me your number 1. See what it is. Top 5 subs, fairly easily. I find this a lot easier than the rest of them. Number 5 was Mackenzie Dern against Montana Stewart. Just an absolutely beautiful omoplata into a rear naked choke. Now, the fight was back and forth. Montana Stewart really stopped some nice takedowns attempts from Mackenzie Dern, but once Mackenzie got her down there, just rolled. Her technique on the ground is so good, it's not even funny. I watch that all the time. Into the omoplata, caught it round there, moved the arm back, managed to get the choke on and choked her out there. So that's my number 5, Mackenzie Dern there. Number 4, I went for Chaz Skelly against Maximo Blanco via Anaconda choke. Came out very, very quickly, hurt Blanco, caught him in a quick Anaconda choke, and that was it. Done. That's my number 4 there. Number 3, we have Ben Rothwell against Josh Barnett. The go-go choke. Not many people do that to Josh Barnett, and I thought that was one of the reasons why he should have been, definitely should have been in the top, because nobody does that. Just put it that way. Nobody really does that to Josh Barnett. I mean, it was very, to see Josh Barnett tap out it was kind of wow, he really just did that, and he did it a few times beforehand as well. So that's why Josh Barnett got my number 3 there. Ben Rothwell, sorry. Number 2 is Michael Mayday McDonald's submission over Kanahara. I can't remember what event it was, but Kanahara looked like he was going to submit Michael McDonald with a arm triangle choke, and was going for it, and then managed to kind of find a way out, snuck his head out, got on the back of Kanehara, and then caught an absolutely amazing rear naked choke. It was like click like that, and he was on his back. Fight was over. Just that is my second favourite submission of the year. Number 1, Miesha Tate against Holly Holm. I don't think you can really go anywhere else but that, because Miesha Tate threw the Hail Mary, went for it, and got it. And I think the reason I picked it as well, because actually I thought that's how it might go down. So that is my pick there. She just jumped on that back. Holly Holm tried to kind of roll with it and slam Miesha Tate, and that only really tightened the grip. And I mean, Holly Holm just went out like an absolute G. So that's my picks there. Come and tell me your picks for this year of submissions, fights, whatever. My fight of the year is Michael Bisping. I'm not even going to get into it because I think beating Anderson Silva, Luke Rockhold, Dan Henderson, you deserve to be fight of the year. And I'm saying I'm not a Bisping guy, but he deserved that 1,000,000%, and he does deserve it. I still think he should have been the BBC Sports Personality of the Year talks over here in the UK. So that was a little bit shitty that he didn't get into that discussion. But that is my picks there for top knockouts, submissions, fight of the year. My event of the year is UFC 199, and fight of the year is Michael Bisping. Come and tell me who you would pick in all those categories, and let's talk about some of the best fights and moments of 2016.